Hello, everyone, and welcome to our podcast. This is JB.
And I'm Chandler, and this is the Unbiased Hard Take. And on today's Unbiased Hard Take, topic 1, breaking news. Jordan covered this a bit yesterday. DeAndre Hopkins signed a 2-year, $26 million deal yesterday with the Tennessee Titans. There are incentives, of course, to make that worth more if he were to perform well, all that good jazz. Are you surprised that he signed with the Titans? Do you think it's a good move, a bad move? What was your reaction?
To me, it was pretty stupid. Well, am I surprised that he went to the Tennessee Titans? Yes, I am. I really didn't cover this much on my short take because I knew we were going to talk about this on our podcast. So for me, Hopkins put out a list of things that his needs and wants. The Tennessee Titans has none of that. They don't got a good defense. They don't got a good quarterback. They're scrummaging around with their quarterback situation. The Tennessee Titans does not know if they're going to start Ryan Tannehill. That's what I said yesterday. They don't know if we're going to start Tannehill, Willis, or Levis. They don't even know, and we don't even know if Derrick Henry is going to even stay. So am I surprised? Yes. And did DeAndre Hopkins go through his list? No.
No, he didn't. And so I think it's a good move on the Titans' part. I don't understand why DeAndre Hopkins signed, but I do understand why the Titans signed him. The Titans, 2 years ago, were the number 1 seed in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, they were in it in the division race until the end. They weren't eliminated early. They had a respectable season last year. They weren't one of the worst teams in the league. They were just middle in the pack. So you have Derrick Henry, who, yes, this is his last year of his contract, and he may not be there after next year. We don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
But they'll probably franchise tag him. That's the world of running backs. We'll discuss that in our later topic today with fantasy football running backs. But if you look at their team, you're correct. Their quarterback situation is very iffy. Ryan Tannehill is a mediocre quarterback at best. He's a bridge quarterback system. He really is.
I mean, he was really good back in a few years ago when they were number 1 seed. Is when he was one of the top notch quarterbacks at the time. But now he's just gotten some clicked in his head. It's like, I'm gonna be not a good quarterback anymore. So it's.
I don't ever think he was truly a good quarterback. I think he's a game manager who is like I said, a solid C quarterback. He's just mediocre. In 2020 he had 33 touchdowns, 7 picks, but beyond that it's been 22-6, 17-9, 19-12, 21-14, last year 13-6. So he's just an okay quarterback. Malik Willis hasn't really developed like people thought. He's kind of and I am not a fan of quarterback from Will Levis. I'm just not a fan of Will Levis. I covered that a bit in our draft topics in the past as well. But they do have Derrick Henry, one of the best running backs in the game. They do have a good run defense. Their pass defense is abysmal, but here's the kicker. They do play in one of the weirdest divisions in football. It's soft as hell in that division. Who do you have? The Colts? Titans are better than the Colts. Their roster up to down is better than the Colts. The Texans? Come on now. The Titans will whoop the Texans' ass any day of the week. The Jaguars. That is their only competition. The Jaguars aren't the most stable franchise in the world either. I mean, my God. They hired Urban Meyer as their coach, for Christ's sake. So they're not the most stable organization. They're kind of weird. I'm a fan of Trevor Lawrence, but don't be surprised if the Titans win that division. I think the Jags will. But I actually think it's a good move for the Titans. Because now you have Will Levis, you have DeAndre Hopkins. What do you want for your rookie quarterback? Good receiver, right?
Yeah.
Right. I think it's good for the Titans.
And honestly, I'm surprised he did not go to the Patriots like everyone thought he was going to. Because I mean, that'll be a smarter move because one, they have a better defense. Yes, even though Mac Jones is iffy at times, but he is still. I do believe at times Mac Jones is better at quarterback than Ryan Tannehill.
And Mac Jones, last year, I'm not going to say write it off, but my God, they had a defensive coordinator as the offensive coordinator.
And he's still and he still
I
actually did pretty decent to me with the
yes.
defensive coordinator as the offensive coordinator. Like,
Right. So
come on.
now that they actually have a real offensive coordinator, Bill O'Brien, who's worked with the Patriots before with Tom
Hmm.
Brady, now because Mac
He's a
Jones
good
his
offensive
first year,
coordinator.
yes he is,
Better than
and
Matt
you
Canada.
look,
Anybody's better than Matt Canada.
Canada,
Anybody's better than Matt Canada nowadays. But anyways, we're not getting that topic.
but you look at Mac Jones, and it's a bit off topic, but his first year he's a Pro Bowler. He made the Pro Bowl with an
Hmm.
offensive coordinator. Last year he struggled with a defensive coordinator. His offensive coordinator, who wouldn't struggle? My God, you're a second-year quarterback and you have a defensive coordinator calling your plays, man. So
Yeah.
now, this season, if he struggles this season, gotta go. But if he
Yeah.
succeeds, he's your franchise guy. But moving back to the Titans, I don't understand why DeAndre Hopkins signed. Why? Even if they win the division, and I don't think they will, but I'm not going to rule it out. I wouldn't think it's ridiculous, do you?
No, not
I
really.
mean, you got Derrick Henry, you got DeAndre Hopkins, if he can stay healthy. That's the kicker.
Yep, that's also the kicker as well. It's like we don't know if he's going to be healthy, but even though he only played not even half the season last year because of suspension, and I think he had like a minor injury that year as well. But
Yeah, he's had injuries in 2021 as well. He only
yeah,
played 10 games that year, so he hasn't had 1,000 yards in over 2 seasons.
yeah. So I
So
mean,
health is an issue with him, and why wouldn't you want to go with a team that has a chance to actually win? DeAndre Hopkins he's not in his early 20s anymore.
hmm
He's not. So if you wanted to win, I get it. They offered you $26 million. Everyone's different. I get it. But if it's me, I want to win. That just shows me where his priorities are. Why sign with the Titans? You're not going to win a championship with them.
yeah, they're not even close to being championship caliber,
Not in the AFC.
especially with the defense that they have. I mean,
Secondary
secondary is tough, or is I
sucks.
mean
It's abysmal.
they got Hooker and Byard. I mean that's their only and that's their safeties. But if you look at the corners,
Last
Caleb,
year, their secondary sucked.
yeah, probably the only good one was Caleb Farley. Honestly,
I don't really remember seeing too much good with the Titans secondary last year. And that's the reason they lost a lot of those games. Because they actually had a good start to the year last year, if you remember correctly.
hmm
But then they really struggled in the end. And in today's NFL, you need a good pass defense. Because what do most teams do now?
pass.
Pass. But then again, you look at the Titans. They did at least go get the rookie quarterback. Because we all know, yeah, Ryan Tannehill might start the first few games. But ultimately, who's their quarterback they want?
Will Levis.
Will Levis. They don't want Malik Willis, or they wouldn't have drafted Will Levis. They don't want Ryan Tannehill, or they wouldn't have drafted Will Levis. So at some point, he's going to be their quarterback.
Hmm
And they don't have any receivers at all, which you said yesterday. But Hopkins, if he can stay healthy, is at least a good receiver for your young quarterback, and you do have one of the best running backs in football behind you. So I do think they at least have a chance. I actually disagree with
Definitely.
you because I think it was way smarter than signing with New England because of the division.
hmm
I think New England has a chance against Jets and Aaron Rodgers, the Dolphins, who made the playoffs last year with Skylar Thompson at quarterback, for Christ's sake. And then you have, of course, the Bills. They have a chance
Yeah.
in that division.
Well, with actually D Hop within the mix, I mean, he might as well because look at the receiver core. They got Juju, Devontae Parker, Thornton, which he had a pretty good rookie year that year. Hunter Henry as the tight end. I mean, and you have Mac Jones as the quarterback. I mean, all those are really great weapons. The only thing that's they're actually um, struggling on is their running back. But I mean, running backs
Stevenson's
are
okay.
yeah. Stevenson, he's okay. But and then the
Okay.
defense, I mean, you got a killer defense. I mean, you
Oh,
got
yeah.
corners. Corners are kind of a little iffy, but I mean, you got great. It's one of the probably the better defense in the AFC.
Oh, yeah, I would agree with that. Probably in
I
the
mean,
NFL.
yeah, because you have great Russian or great up front. Got Matthew Judon. Um, and the safeties and Kyle Duggar and Peppers. I mean, come on. I'm surprised you haven't started or chose New England, but you know what? He probably seen something at Tennessee that we don't see.
maybe it's the fact that the division's weaker. Because and you're right, the Patriots have a good roster. I just don't think they're better than the Jets. I don't think they're better than the Dolphins, and I don't think they're better than the Bills.
Oh, I think they're better than the
I
Dolphins.
don't. Oh, I don't. I think Mike McDaniel's one of the best coaches in football. Truly. You led the Dolphins.
If Tua can stay healthy.
Yeah, that's true. That's a big if, and it is. It really is. But you look at their roster, man. They have some really good players. They do, and a really good offensive-minded coach. When you got Tyreek Hill and Eric Waddle, and they have pieces. They do. They have more pieces to me than New England does.
Yeah, but we don't know if Tyreek Hill is going to be staying longer than.
Oh yeah.
Because he did say that when his contract is up, he's not going to be in the NFL. He's want to do real estate. So
he does, but he just signed that big contract, man.
Yeah. So after that contract's up,
their window's still open though. I'm rooting for Tua though. Here's why. I love my left-handed quarterbacks. I'm a lefty myself. Love me my lefty quarterbacks. Yep, love them. Mike Vick. Lefty quarterbacks, man. But that's the time we have for that topic today. We're going to shift a little bit from the world of the NFL to the world of the NBA. Again, the dark times have approached, and it continues to get worse. The big headlines in Summer League are dwindling. Now we're being left with baseball and the WNBA. So again, take a moment of silence for everyone's lack of entertainment in the sports world. All right, moving on. We're going to discuss.
Song?
I have no idea. I literally just made that up. No, the wedding song goes do 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 do.
That's
right?
what you just did, but you did it quicker.
Do 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 do. No. You ever heard that song?
Yes, I
get copyrighted.
Oh god. Here we go.
Moving on to topic 2. Nothing. We owe nothing. We don't want to get sued. We don't have the money to get sued. Please don't sue us. Moving on. Topic 2. We're going to discuss our top 5 NBA players of all time, and I hope we're going to get a lot of hate for this. I'm sure of it, because everyone has a different list. Everyone's an expert. So we're going to kind of have a little bit of fun here. And we're going to go, let you go first, your top 5 of all time. Let you kind of explain why, and then I will go second. So for NBA.
Are going 5-1 or 1-5?
5-1.
5-1.
I didn't think of that. 5-1.
All right.
No, that's confusing. Let's do 1-5.
1-5.
Nah. Yeah, 1-5. That's weird. 1-5.
All right. My number 1, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And here's why. He held the number 1 points for a long time. He had so many championships, even though Bill Russell had way more.
Oh God!
But he dominated in that era.
He did.
So, and he also is the one that changed the basketball the way it is now. Number 2, Michael Jordan.
Oh God.
Yep. And we all know why. Michael Jordan, 6-0 in the playoffs, championships.
I'm gonna have a stroke.
Number 3, Kobe Bryant.
Okay, that's an interesting take. Okay. I have Kobe a lot higher in my list too. That's why I'm not disappointed right now. Shocked.
I would want to do switch Kobe and Michael, but I like Kobe at 3. in my list. Just because he was
Ugh.
loyal. He was loyal to the Lakers. He did so many things, and he is the first person that has 2 numbers retired. R.I.P.
Because if you'd had Michael Jordan third of all time, I might have had to start crying. Okay,
Oh
thank
no.
God.
Oh no. No.
Ugh. Okay.
Number 4. Who will be my number 4? So many to choose from.
There are.
I could go Bill Russell. I could go Magic. I can go Shaq. Actually, Wilt Chamberlain.
Okay.
Number 4. That is my number 4.
Okay. Your list is weird, but okay.
My list is weird. But Wilt Chamberlain, like I said, same thing as Kareem. He dominated in that era. Had 100 points. But even though
The only player to do so.
even though there is conspiracy on it of Wilt
Odd.
Chamberlain doing 100, yes, I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, well, I've seen it. Conspiracy theory for everything.
There is a conspiracy theory for everything. But Wilt Chamberlain, number 4. Oh man. And number 5. Bill Russell.
LeBron fans are going to hate you.
Yep. LeBron is my 5 to 10. He's my 5 to 10. But I really
I'm glad
don't.
you put Bill Russell in there.
Yeah. We all know why Bill Russell. He's so many championships.
Yeah.
So much everything. He.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Number 6.
We'll take a moment for that one. Okay. Take a moment for that.
But it was dwindling to me with Shaq and Bill Russell at 5.
And I'm glad you chose that because, in my opinion, if you'd put Shaq over Bill Russell, I had to go through the computer and strangle you because, in my opinion, Shaq was never the best player on his championship team. Kobe was better than Shaq. D-Wade, the year the Heat won the title, was better than Shaq that year. He erupted in that 06 finals. Best finals performance of all time, may I add. I'll stand by that all day long.
Well, he helped quite a bit.
He did, but he was the second best player. Kind of like Pippen, to me. Pippen was he's a Hall of Fame player, one of the top 75 of all time, deserved everything he ever received. But he was Robin the Batman. He was never Batman.
Exactly.
But man, my God. Your list.
I really don't like LeBron. I'm sorry.
I don't like him either. And it's not even that. It's not even that.
It's to me.
Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah.
Who? Okay.
It is a really close race for my Kareem and Michael. It is a very nose to nose race.
Oh, okay.
But
at least we have that.
There is yes, Michael Jordan is 6-0 in the playoffs.
Finals.
In the finals. Why do I keep saying
LeBron boys will be in here correcting us.
Yeah. But
fanboys.
If you look at all of his stuff, Kareem's, he's a 6-time NBA champion, 2 times NBA Finals MVP, 6-time Most Valuable Player, 19 NBA All-Star, 10 NBA All NBA First Team, and it's just everything just goes on and on and on. And plus, he had multiple defensive. He had a block leader. It's just stuff that does both ends of the court. That's kind of what I see.
Okay. And okay, I can see that. I really can.
And yes,
But
even though does Michael Jordan have a lot more stuff? Yes. But he really the only thing that he has um on his sheet is 3 times steal leader.
who?
Michael Jordan.
Jordan.
Yeah.
And I agree. On paper, you're not wrong. But to me, Michael Jordan, number one. Has to be number one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you look at this. Okay, so Michael Jordan, who played the Bulls, retired, came back, and then played a couple years with the Wizards. 6-time NBA champion.
Which, by the
Dynasties.
way, here's this is a funny or
6-0.
funny take.
Hmm?
When he was with the Wizards, look who the Wizards had. It was only Michael Jordan,
Oh, right. But
and they had
listen,
a better record than the Lakers this year. And look at all the All Stars that they had.
they really?
Yeah, just one
Check
win
that.
more.
You check that.
Yeah, I know this
Because
100%.
I didn't know that. But you look at Michael Jordan, 6-0 in the finals, 6-time NBA Finals MVP, 5-time MVP, 14-time All-Star, 3-time NBA All-Star Game MVP, 10-time All-NBA First Team, 9-time All-NBA Defensive First Team, 10-time scoring champ. That's a big thing right there. 3-time steal leader, 2-time slam dunk contest. Looking at you, LeBron. To me, Michael Jordan is the pinnacle of basketball. It is what he accomplished is ridiculous on both ends of the floor. Truly.
Yeah,
Did LeBron ever win a dunk contest or even try to participate in one?
he said he didn't want to.
No, because he's afraid to. He doesn't want to get beat. Like, was LeBron? Everyone's going to say this. That's why I'm mentioning LeBron on my takes, because everyone. I know I will have some LeBron fanboys in here talk about LeBron's better. No, he's not. At no point has LeBron ever been a steals leader. He's never done a dunk contest. He has 9 less scoring titles than Michael Jordan. 9, almost a decade's worth. Both Rookie of the Year, Michael Jordan way more All NBA defensive selections, Defensive Player in the Year. LeBron's never done that, and more championships. So to me, it's not close. Number one. Number two, I'm going to give you Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, because he almost matches Michael Jordan on every single thing, virtually. 6-time champion, 19-time All-Star, 10-time NBA first team. But to me, yes. Could you argue LeBron is better off than Kareem offensively? Yeah, maybe. You could. He has more points now, blah, blah, blah. Look at the defense. Basketball is 2 sides of the floor. LeBron, way less. Never been a block leader. Never. And Kareem has more scoring titles. Kareem, 5-time All-NBA defensive second team, 10-time All-NBA first team. He did it on both ends of the floor as well. LeBron never really did. Really. To me. I mean,
Okay.
LeBron's a good defensive player.
Yeah.
But Kareem too.
So
Because
back to
ultimately,
oh, sorry to interrupt,
oh,
but back to the Wizards and Lakers. So it was the 21-22 season that Michael Jordan had a better record in when it was 22-03. They went 37-45, and the 21-22 season they went 33-49.
so the Wizards had a better record.
Yep, and with what roster Washington had.
Right. Because you can't really. The Wizards' Michael Jordan wasn't really Michael Jordan. He was just kind of there, you know what I mean, to teach and just to kind of, yeah. Yeah.
Because they had Kwame Brown, Brian Cardinal, whoever that is, Michael Jordan,
I remember
Larry
Brian.
Hughes.
Man, you don't know who Brian Cardinal is?
Oh,
Uh,
that. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I know who Brian Cardinal was. It kind of had to get in my head a little bit.
where did he go to college?
Purdue.
Thank God. Okay.
That's why I had to think for a second because I haven't heard that name in forever. Anyways,
It has been a long time.
it has been a long time.
Okay, good deal. Good. And so there's an argument for you right there anyway.
And the
And
Jerry
so,
Stackhouse
Jerry Stackhouse.
and
Hasn't anybody
Tyronn
ever heard in
Lue
a long
was
time.
on that roster.
Never do that as kids. Lou. But you look, so Kareem has more championships than Braun does. He has more MVPs, with Kareem having 6 and LeBron having 4. Yeah, I'm correct there, 4. So more championships, more MVPs, same amount of All-Star game appearances, and LeBron has never been a block leader, a steal leader, nothing like that. So Kareem was a block leader 4 times. And so with that, yes, Kareem is better than Braun. Here's where a lot of people, and probably you too, are going to start thinking, whoa, on my list. Because the first 2 pretty safe. But number 3, Tim Duncan.
Ooh.
Mr. Fundamentals. And a lot of people forget about Tim Duncan because he's boring.
We never forget about him.
No, because he gave the Heat fits. Even when we beat them that one year with Ray Allen's shot in that Game 7, God dang, that was a close finals. If we had to redo that finals, we might not win.
Oh, they would have killed us.
Think they were the better team that year?
They were 100% the better team that year.
But it didn't matter.
But it did not matter
That's what.
because we got Ray on our team.
That's right. So you look at Tim
So
Duncan.
glad we picked him that year.
Right. More championships than Braun at 5. So then you continue to go down the line. 15-time All-Star for Duncan. Okay, Braun's got 19. Whatever. So then you go down to, again, the defensive stuff. You always look at the defensive stuff, too. Because 8-time All-NBA defensive first team. Braun, 5-time All-NBA defensive first team. Braun made the defensive second team 1 year. Tim Duncan has made the All-NBA defensive team, defensive first team, second team 7 times. They both won Rookie of the Year. So again, more championships. And yes, the one thing Tim Duncan does whack on Braun's MVPs, but Tim Duncan's a 2-time NBA MVP himself. You look, more championships, more defensive awards, way more All-NBA defensive second teams, more All-NBA defensive first teams. Again, me, the only reason Tim Duncan's not higher on a lot of people's lists is because he was boring. He wasn't. He's just Mr. Fundamentals. Put the ball in and move on. Them Spurs teams, oh my God. Now, number 4, LeBron James. I hate LeBron James. I hate him. But I think I would be biased, in my opinion, to not at least put him in my top 5, because he's definitely a top 5 player of all time to me. And it's,
Not
he's
to
making
me.
the face I was making. Because, yes, he's made all of them finals, and he lost a lot of them, which is funny. But but getting to the finals, as we have discussed in this podcast, is an accomplishment. It is. The dude lost more finals than he won. Happened not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5. You've won your championships ring chasing. That's the difference between LeBron and Tim Duncan, Michael Jordan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. If LeBron would have done what he's done, all with Miami, never left, or all with Cleveland and never left, yes, I would have him probably as the best of all time, maybe second best behind Jordan. But he didn't. He's had to chase. He guaranteed championships and failed. But yes, he is the all-time NBA scoring leader. He is a 4-time champ. He is a scoring champion. He is 19-time All-Star. He's a great player. He is. But to say he's better than... Because I'm looking, that's really all he had. That's it. So, 19-time All-Star, 4-time MVP. Kareem has more than them. 4-time champion, lost more finals than he won. You look at LeBron's resume, and it's great. But you look, it's just not better than Duncan's, Kareem's, or Jordan. That's why he's so low. Number 5, Bill Russell, the great Bill Russell. Most championships of all time. Really the first superstar ever in the NBA. 11-time champion, 5-time MVP. Again, amazing 12-time NBA All-Star. All-Star Game MVP, All-NBA defense, 4-time rebounding champion. A lot of people leave him off of the list, I think, because it happened so long ago. We
Mhm.
kind of forget. Me and you never watched him play.
Nope.
Our parents didn't watch him play. So people are starting to forget about his greatness, and I refuse to let that happen. Because you've watched replay games. Bill Russell to take him off a top 5 list is insane.
Yes, even though it was one, there were less teams in that era, and the seasons was shorter.
He
But
still had to compete against Jerry
and
West.
he still had to compete Jerry West and a few others. But it's I mean you cannot surpass that greatness.
He started the NBA to a point. I know he didn't, but technically, but he really was the first superstar and made the NBA take off.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Jerry West. And Bill Russell, Jerry West is a great player, but Bill Russell whooped that ass a lot of times.
Exactly.
And my honorable mention, Magic Johnson.
Ooh,
Of course,
yeah.
these lists, like me and JB just did, they're debatable. They are.
They
and I'm
are
sure,
our list. Our
yes.
list.
Only. And yes, you can make arguments for a lot of players. You can make arguments for Larry Bird to be on there. So it's really hard to kind of narrow that down. So we're not saying our lists are accurate, 100% true, but this is just what we see in our eyes. Because there are so many great NBA legends of all time that there's no really definitive answer.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of this stuff's for fun. But now you guys know where we take it. These are our top 5 lists. So topic 3, moving back over to the world of the NFL, again, fantasy football series, and with that, we did quarterbacks last week. This week will be running backs. So JB, 2 running backs that you would draft, and 2 running backs not to draft. Tell the viewers why.
For me, my number 1 is Christian McCaffrey.
To draft.
To draft.
Two
These are my
drafts,
two
okay.
draft.
To draft. Take notes, rookies. Take notes.
Because 1, he is a versatile running back. He can catch, and he can run. And at times, even though it's horrible, he can throw a football.
And we'll get into this later into the season. Our Super Bowl prediction before the season starts. We'll do all that shit. And the Niners,
Even though
lost.
even though they do not have, or there is still questionable of what quarterback they're going with. Even though I still think it should be Purdy, but
It's going to be Purdy. Had he not gotten hurt
be.
in the NFC title game, they would have been in that Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. If not, have been a pretty close game after that.
Oh, they'd have been in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That was a good joke, by the way.
I mean, he did play quarterback when he was in Carolina, but Christian McCaffrey, he can do it all. I mean, he'll give you so many points. Like, if I could look at it, last year's points or stats last year. Here we go. So, why does it say all? I'm sorry. This is pretty confusing. Okay, so rushing, he had over 1,000 rushing yards, even though he had 8 touchdowns, and he only fumbled once. I mean, that's one of the good things that you can see is the turnover rate. So, I mean, he only had 1 fumble, but it was not fumble lost. So, and that was with only 224 attempts, and he averaged over 1,000 rushing yards. So that was good on his part. And on the receiving side, he caught the ball 85 times, and with 741 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns. Receiving yards. Yeah, 741 receiving yards. So
that's a big thing with running backs.
Is the receiving.
Yes, in fantasy
the
football,
check downs.
absolutely.
The quarterback's number one scapegoat. Check downs.
It counts just the same.
Yep, it literally counts just the same. So,
And people forget that for some reason.
and my number 2, I mean, there's quite a few, but I'm not gonna go Derrick Henry. I'm not gonna go Saquon. To me, it's either Eckler, Nick Chubb, or Jonathan Taylor.
Who you gonna go with?
I'm gonna go with Austin Eckler.
Draft him.
Yep, drafting him. He had an amazing year. Well, I want to say just an amazing year last year, but I do believe that this year it's going to be a whole lot of. It's going to be different for him this year. Well, actually, no. I take that back. I'm not gonna.
We're changing.
I'm changing. I am changing. I'm gonna go Nick Chubb.
Playing the Uno reverse card.
I'm doing the Uno reverse. I'm going Nick Chubb, even though he is a Brown, but he is a consistent running back. This is the 4th time in a row that he went over 1,000 yards. And he's tied with his most touchdowns. So he had 12 touchdowns this year, 1,525 rushing yards, and only 302 attempts. And on the receiving side, I mean, it's not pretty, but he's really not.
All
He's
backs.
yeah, he's not a receiving back to begin with. He's a power back.
Right.
So I mean, even though
the power back, power back,
he is the power back, but he played all 17 games. So that's also a thing you need to look at as well.
Fantasy is health.
His health. So
yes.
he only got targeted. He got targeted 37. He only caught 27 with 239 yards and only 1 touchdown. So I mean that's pretty decently for a power back.
That's not horrible.
It's not horrible, but the rushing is he's consistent.
So what I'm hearing from you, people need to draft running backs early because to get McCaffrey and Hunt, you're gonna have to draft them quick.
Because they're gonna get off because running backs are one of the number one. Well, I wouldn't say now because since everything's all changing.
Passing league.
Yeah, it's more of a passing league, so you probably need more of a receiving back, like McCaffrey,
Aaron Jones.
Yeah. And I'll probably say, even though he's a power back, but Najee Harris, he's starting to get both ends of the stick.
But their offensive line, that's the concern. Pittsburgh's offensive line. That is
it's gotten better this year. It's gotten better. It's gotten 100% better this year.
Yes, we did cover that. They did.
We made moves.
Covered that, yeah. We have, yes. So hopefully it improves because, best friend's a Steelers fan. Might as well at least root for them to be decent. Unless they play the Packers, then we root for an ass kicking. Which we will see that this season.
Yes. So
Jordan Love versus Kenny Pickett. God, we're getting old. What happened to the Rodgers, Roethlisberger, Favre even days? God dang, man.
Old.
We are getting old. They are getting old. But okay, those are your 2. Okay.
Yep. And
I actually, I'll get into that in a minute.
So my 2 is that not to draft. I'm going by stuff that's right now, that's signings and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Saquon Barkley.
Okay.
Yes, even though he is an amazing running back, he put the Giants on his back multiple times.
I think I know where you're going with this.
But he came out and said he's not playing until he gets his contract. that he rightfully deserves. To me, Saquon Barkley is the New York Giants' franchise player. It's not Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones does not deserve the money.
No.
Saquon Barkley does.
Yes.
But he said he's going to be sitting out until he gets his money. And to me, he deserves it.
Okay.
So,
I was
also,
going to say injury history of his past.
and
as well.
also injury history, or his history of injury. But he got a lot better last year. He came back, had over 1,000 rushing yards. So as of right now, Saquon, do not draft Saquon because he's not going to be playing for you.
Number 2.
So much to choose. So much to choose. You know what? This running back screwed me over quite a few years. Miles Sanders. Do not draft Miles Sanders. Yes, is he a good running back? Yes, he is a good running back. But he is not a consistent running back. Let me tell you why. I had him last year. Yes, there were games that he had over 20 points. And there are games that he had 0.5.
Yeah.
He even said it himself. He does not care about your fantasy league. He does not care. So yes, even though he had over 1,000 rushing yards, he had 11 touchdowns. But I'm sorry, he is not consistent.
And I actually respect that because he's more of a team guy, but not good for fantasy.
And even, especially when the Eagles got rid of him, and look what team he's on now. He's in Carolina. Carolina is a huge mess to begin with.
Right.
So to him adding that to the mix, to the Carolinas drama, no, do not draft Miles Sanders.
Okay.
It's always a love and hate with me and Miles Sanders. Screwed me over so many times in so many leagues.
So I'm going to start with the positive. So the 2 running backs to draft. Running back number 1, Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is
I knew
one.
You would go to that one.
Yeah, and it's not because I'm a Packers fan. It's not. I had Aaron Jones when you dropped him in your fantasy league last season. Aaron Jones had 81. Excuse me here. That's 2017. There we go. He had 213 carries, 1,121 yards, only 2 rush touchdowns. But there you go, over 1,000 yards again. Workhorse back. But then you also got to consider receiving. 5 receiving touchdowns. Doesn't matter in fantasy if you run or rush it. Who cares? 7 receiving. 7 touchdowns total. 5 receiving, 2 rushing, 7 total. And then you got to add the 395 receiving yards he had. So you're looking at about a 1,500 yard back with 7 touchdowns total. And he's had 1,000 yards rushing 3 of the last 4 years. And the year he did not, he still had 1,000 yards total because he had 799 rushing yards and 391 receiving yards for over 1,000 yards. Again, who cares if they're running it or catching it? It doesn't matter. So he's had 1,000 scrimmage yards each of your last 4 seasons. So that's why, again, with the NFL going to more of a passing league, and you have Jordan Love now. So with him being a young, inexperienced quarterback, you're going to be checking down a lot. You're not going to want to go out there and make boneheaded decisions and throw the ball in tight spots like Aaron Rodgers normally would. You're still learning yourself, developing. So it's going to be like a lot of Rodgers of 08. He's going to have a lot of checkdowns. And Aaron Jones is one of the best receiving backs in football. So I think he's going to benefit off of that in the fantasy world.
Okay.
And number 2, draft. And Josh Jacobs. Last year's NFL rushing champion. That's the big thing. Yes, he is on the franchise tag. And it's sad these running backs aren't getting paid. But it's unfortunate that the NFL doesn't value them like they should. But every 3 3 of his 4 NFL seasons are over 1,000 yards. 12 touchdowns last year, a rushing champion. That's all you really need to say. And they still have their roster really is the same, minus Derek Carr and for Jimmy Garoppolo. And they downgraded at quarterback willingly for some reason, in my opinion. But with Jimmy G, he's not a top 10 quarterback. Are they going to run or pass more? I'm running it. You don't have a top 10 quarterback, but you have a top running back. Run the ball.
See, I think Jimmy G is better than Derek Carr, in my opinion.
I don't. I think Jimmy G's had a lot of good teams and benefited off of that.
Just a little bit better. Just a little bit.
And you could debate that. I think we're going to find out a lot this year with Derek Carr on the Saints and with Jimmy G on the Raiders. I'll find a lot of that out. But 2 running backs not to draft. And I know these guys have had good years in the past, but do not draft Jonathan Taylor. So far, Jonathan Taylor really has been a one-year wonder. Really. As you look, his rookie year, he was great. 1,169 yards, 11 touchdowns. Okay, that's a really good year. Then 1,811 yards, 18 touchdowns. That was amazing. Last year, 861 yards, 4 touchdowns. What's up with that? Only 11 games played. Injured. Had an ankle injury. What do you not want your running backs to have? Lower extremity injuries, knee injuries, ankle injuries. You don't want a running back to have an ankle injury. And the Colts don't have a good roster really at all. Their quarterback's Anthony Richardson, who has 1-year college experience. They have Gardner Minshew. They have some decent receivers. Michael Pittman's okay. But I'm just saying that they're not going to have the best aerial attack in the league. Definitely not. Probably the best passing team in the league. And then you already have a running back.
They downgraded their receiving core as well.
They don't have a top receiving core. They don't have a top quarterback. They have a rookie quarterback. And you have a running back coming off of an ankle injury. That's not something you want to draft. Again, in fantasy, you're looking at a lot of consistency, and you want health and consistency. It's not a good combination for consistency. And again, kind of moving to that injury part, I wouldn't draft Tony Pollard either. Last year, barely over 1,000 yards. Beyond that, never had 1,000 yards. Never had double-digit touchdowns. 3 of his 4 seasons under 800 yards. And he's coming off of an ankle injury, too.
Well,
people have him as a top running back for some reason.
He did get over 1,000. He barely got over 1,000.
Barely. With 17 games played. The NFL used to be a 16-game season. And people were doing it. Peterson ran for 2,000 yards in 16 games. And you're telling me that Tony Pollard's a top fantasy running back when he ran for 1,007 yards in a 17-game season, which he didn't even play because he had an ankle injury. Yeah, let's draft him.
Well, he had 16 on here on my stats. He had 16 games, only 193 attempts, 1,007 yards, and only 9 touchdowns.
But when did he get hurt? Late in the year, on playoff time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played most of the year, but an ankle injury, not a good combination.
Yeah.
And now you don't have Ezekiel Elliott out there because he's not on the team either. So now he'll be running the ball more coming off of an injury, which is more likely for an injury. Yes, but he's still a good second back.
He's not a good center, though.
No. But that's the time we have for today's unbiased hard take. That's a good way to end it, I think. JB, do you have anything you want to add?
Oh, man. Where did the Cowboys go? Where
Jaguars have more playoff wins than they do as of recent, so there's a side note for you.
Peaked like in the late 90s.
So, they absolutely did, with Emmitt Smith and Aikman and Irvin and the boys. So, with that being said, like, subscribe, hit the bell. Like us on Facebook, Unbiased Hard Take, Sports Fact of the Day. Check out that. That will be later today.
Boom.
JB, anything?
Nope, you all said it yourself. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, comment on the video. Ashley, tell us, what is your number 5 or top 5 NBA players of all time?
What do you think of our list? What do you think of our fantasy rankings? What do you think of all of it?
Yep. So, tell us down in the comments below.
Absolutely. And until next time,
see ya.
See ya.